Let's have a look at the credit notes. Credit notes can only be raised against approved invoices. For raising a credit note, go to the Raised Invoices tab in the Invoice module. From the grid, click on the Actions button of any approved invoice, click on the Credit Note option. You will be redirected to the Credit Note page. Here in this page, you can look at the invoice details. After the invoice details, you can add the narration, date, and the amount. Here the narration will be auto-generated, with the appropriate invoice number, invoice date, and the invoice narration, making it easier for the end user. You can choose the date here. And no backdates can be chosen while raising a credit note. As for the amount, the maximum amount that can be entered based on the outstanding, will be calculated and auto-populated in the basic amount field. Same goes for the OPE amount as well. Also, beneath both the fields, the max amount will be displayed in red. This maximum amount displayed for both basic amount and OPE is excluding the GST, if applicable. As to the out-of-pocket expenses, whatever expenses that were added to the invoice, will be shown here as well. You can look at the expenses by clicking on the Edit Expenditure option. On clicking that, a pop-up window will open, listing all the expenses, the ad hoc amount and the percentage input as well. Here, you can deselect any of the expenses, edit the ad hoc amount and the percentage input. Whatever expenses that were deselected or reduced will go back to expense ledger and can be added to the next invoice. If you try to enter an amount larger than the mentioned maximum amount, there will be a pop-up, displaying that the amount entered should be less than the outstanding amount. The attachment is mandatory here. Once it is submitted, that credit note will be in Raised Credit Notes tab. It will go to INCPA for approval. Once approved by INCPA, the credit note can be found in the Credit Notes tab for the team member who raised it. The status will be shown as pending. Once it is approved in the Raised Credit Notes tab, it will go to the To Approve Invoices tab for the approval of the team leader. Once approved by the appropriate team leader, that status will become approved. Once it is approved, the outstanding amount will be reduced based on the credit note amount. Here, I have raised 2 credit notes, both the credit note number are displayed on credit note number column. The next time you raise a credit note against the same invoice, it will only allow you to raise a credit note for the updated outstanding amount. Also, if a receipt entry is made against the invoice, the amount will be reduced from the total outstanding. So, if a credit note is raised against that invoice, it will allow the user to raise the credit note only for the remaining outstanding amount. Let's also see the rejection of a credit note. Here, a credit note has already been raised and is sent for the approval of the team leader. Let's go into this credit note by clicking on the Approve icon in Action column. If we scroll down, we can see the Approve and Reject buttons. If we choose Reject, a pop-up will come, asking us to enter the reason for rejection. Once we reject it, we can find the rejected credit note in Credit Note tab. The status will be shown as cancelled. We can resubmit the credit note by clicking on the Action button and choosing the Edit Credit Note option. It'll redirect us to the Credit Note Edit page. Here, if we scroll down we can see the reason for rejection. based on which the user can make the appropriate changes and resubmit it. Once it is resubmitted, the credit note will go to the Raised Credit Notes tab and the rest of the process for approval is same as before. Thus with this we have covered the credit notes module.